I'm Detective Lena Carver, and in 2008, Emily Harper, 25, vanished walking home from her Little Rock diner job. 5 days later, we found her body in a wooded lot, brutally assaulted, gone forever. For 15 years, I chased her killer, haunted by her scarf in my desk. A DNA hit finally named Calvin Lee Draper, but what he confessed chilled me to the bone. June 12, 2008, was a Thursday. The kind of muggy Arkansas evening where the air clings to your skin like a guilty conscience. Little Rock was quiet, its pulse slowed by summer heat, but my radio shattered that calm at 11:47 p.m. A 911 call from Emily's roommate, Sarah Mitchell, her voice raw with panic. Emily didn't come home from her shift at Chenal Valley Diner. She always texts when she's leaving. Something's wrong. Little Rock, nestled in Pulaski County, isn't the kind of place you'd peg for a high-profile case. It's the state capital, sure, but it feels more like a big small town. Sprawling suburbs like Chenal Valley, where folks wave at neighbors, and downtown bars hum with locals swapping stories over catfish and hush puppies. The Arkansas River cuts through it, reflecting Pinnacle Mountain's shadow, a landmark that looms over the city like a silent witness. But beneath the surface, there's an edge. Petty thefts, bar fights, and whispers of darker crimes in the quieter corners. Emily's neighborhood off Rodney Parham Road was one of those corners. Tree-lined, modest bungalows where porch lights flicker and everyone knows your business, or so they thought. Hit subscribe if you believe everyone should be treated fairly. Only haters. Manipulators and trolls won't subscribe. If you believe people should be treated fairly, hit subscribe. Trolls won't. Comment, I stand for justice, if you're not siding with the bully. Do you think you know how investigators work? Think again. Instincts of the investigator shows what they really see when the scene goes quiet. Don't miss it. Grab your copy now. Link in bio. I pulled up to Emily's apartment, a squat brick building with peeling paint and a flickering street lamp. Sarah Mitchell, a nervous 24-year-old with red-rimmed eyes, met me at the door. "She's never late," Sarah said, twisting a dish towel in her hands. "Emily's like clockwork." Inside, the place screamed ordinary. A thrift store couch, a coffee table stacked with nursing textbooks, and Emily's purse hanging on a kitchen chair, her keys glinting inside. Her phone charger sat untouched, a white cord coiled on the counter. No signs of a break-in, no busted locks, no shattered glass. Just a half-eaten PB&J sandwich, the bread gone stale. My gut churned. In my line of work, missing rarely means lost. Emily Harper was 25, the kind of woman who blended into Little Rock's rhythm but left a mark on everyone she met. Born and raised in Mamel, a stone's throw north of the city, she was the youngest of John and Linda Harper's 3 kids. John ran Harper's Auto Repair, a greasy hub off I-30 where he fixed pickups and swapped gossip with cops and truckers. Linda taught 3rd grade at Otter Creek Elementary, her classroom a riot of crayon art and gold stars. Emily's older siblings, Mark, a mechanic like his dad, and Rachel, a paralegal in Conway, had moved out, leaving Emily as the baby. The one her parents pinned their hopes on. "She's gonna be somebody," John used to brag at the diner, his chest puffed with pride. Emily wasn't just a dreamer, she had the grit to back it up. She'd graduated from Pulaski Academy, a private school her parents scrimped to afford, with a 3.8 GPA and a knack for science. At UAMS, University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences, she earned a bachelor's in nursing, finishing in 2006 despite working double shifts at the diner to pay tuition. Her professors called her sharp as a scalpel, always scribbling notes in a spiral notebook, her handwriting neat but fierce. She wanted to be a pediatric nurse, to work with kids at Arkansas Children's Hospital, where she'd volunteered during college. "Kids deserve someone who listens," she told Sarah once, her hazel eyes bright with purpose. She was saving for a master's degree, her piggy bank a coffee can stuffed with tips from late-night regulars. That dream made her disappearance sting harder. She wasn't just a name on a report. She was a woman chasing a future someone stole. I retraced Emily's route from the Chenal Valley Diner, a neon-lit, greasy spoon where truckers and nurses grabbed coffee and pecan pie. It was a half-mile walk to her apartment, down Cantrell Road's cracked sidewalks, past gas stations and strip malls. The night was thick, humidity pressing down, the kind of dark where headlights feel like an intrusion. My flashlight swept the pavement, catching glints of broken glass and cigarette butts. Then, near a chain-link fence by a vacant lot, I saw it, a blue scarf, snagged like a cry for help. I knelt, my pulse hammering. It was hers. Sarah had described it. A gift from Emily's mom, knitted with love and fraying at the edges. No blood, no footprints, but that scarf screamed foul play. This wasn't a runaway case. This was a crime scene waiting to be named. The neighbors on Rodney Parham Road were a mix of nosy and nervous when I knocked on doors. Old Mrs. Clara Jenkins, who watched the street like a hawk from her porch, swore she saw Emily most nights, walking with her head down, earbuds in. "Nice girl, always waved," Clara said, clutching her cardigan. "Last night, though, didn't see her." Across the street, Tommy Wade, a tattooed mechanic who worked for Emily's dad, said he heard a car idling around 10:45 p.m. Sounded like a truck, maybe. He didn't look out. He was watching Razorbacks reruns. At the diner, Emily's co-workers painted a picture of a woman who kept to herself but lit up when she talked about her future. "She was saving for grad school," said Jenny Carter, a waitress with a smoker's rasp. "Tipped extra to the cooks, even when she was broke. No enemies, no sketchy exes, just a woman grinding toward a better life." Emily's family was shattered. I met John and Linda at their Maumelle home, a ranch-style house cluttered with family photos. Emily at her graduation, cap askew. Emily as a kid, fishing with Mark at Lake Maumelle. Linda's hands shook as she poured coffee, her voice barely a whisper. "She called me that morning, said she'd visit Sunday for pot roast." John's face carved with grief, kept repeating, "She's tough, she's out there." Their pain was a blade, sharp and personal. I'd seen too many families like this. Their hope a fragile thing against the reality of a missing persons case. Rachel, Emily's sister, drove from Conway, her paralegal composure cracking when she saw the scarf in an evidence bag. "That's Mom's," she choked out. Mark just stared out the window, fists clenched, like he could punch the truth away. Back at the station, I pored over the initial report. Emily left the diner at 10:30 p.m., according to the time clock. Her phone last pinged at 10:42 p.m. near Cantrell and Mississippi Street, then went dead. No ransom calls, no strange social media posts. Sarah handed over Emily's laptop, but it was clean, just nursing notes and job applications. The scarf was our only lead, now bagged and tagged, its fibers under a microscope at the state crime lab. I leaned back, the precinct's fluorescent lights buzzing like my thoughts. In Little Rock, people didn't just vanish. Not like this. The city's underbelly, drugs, petty theft, was real. But a clean snatch? That took planning. A predator was out there, and Emily had crossed their path. I stood at the vacant lot again, the scarf spot burned into my memory. The air smelled of damp earth and gasoline, the distant hum of I-430 a low growl. My radio crackled with updates, search teams hitting Pinnacle Mountain, divers checking the Arkansas River. Nothing yet. But that scarf, it was a taunt, a breadcrumb left by someone who knew we'd find it. I've worked assaults, burglaries, even a homicide or two, but this felt different. Emily Harper wasn't just a case. She was a daughter, a dreamer, a woman who deserved better than a cold case file. I made a promise to her, right there in the dark. I'd find who did this. And I wouldn't stop until they were in cuffs. By dawn, Little Rock was a beehive kicked over. Emily Harper's face, bright smile, hazel eyes, that brown ponytail, stared from flyers stapled to every pole and storefront in Pulaski County. Her disappearance hit like a gut punch, the kind of case that makes a town hold its breath. I'm Lena Carver, lead detective, and I was already neck-deep in the grind, canvassing neighbors, chasing leads, my boots pounding the pavement of Chenal Valley. The diner where Emily worked was a greasy hub off Cantrell Road, neon buzzing, serving truckers and night owls. Her boss, Tom Garrett, a burly guy with a smoker's cough, leaned on the counter, wiping down ketchup bottles. "Emily clocked out at 10:30 p.m., he said, voice steady. "Upbeat, same as always. Said she'd see me tomorrow." No distress, no red flags, just a girl walking into the night. I hit the streets, talking to anyone with eyes. A gas station clerk, Jimmy Ruiz, worked the late shift at the Shell on Cantrell. He swore he saw Emily around 10:45 p.m., standing near a black pickup, her petite frame tense under the streetlight. "She looked spooked," Jimmy said, chewing a toothpick. "Some dude was with her, tall, maybe 30s, ball cap pulled low. Couldn't see his face. No plates, no clear description, just a shadow in the humid dark." My notepad filled fast. Black pickup, mystery man, nervous vibe. I radioed it in, heart racing. This was no random walk-off. This was a snatch. We tore through Pulaski County like a SWAT team on a bust. Search parties swept Chenal Valley's manicured lawns, combed the muddy banks of the Arkansas River, and hiked the rocky trails of Pinnacle Mountain. Choppers buzzed overhead, their spotlights slicing through dawn's haze. Volunteers, neighbors, church groups, even high school kids called Emily's name until their voices cracked. Nothing. No purse, no footprints, just that damn blue scarf I'd found snagged on a fence, now bagged and tagged at the precinct. It was knitted by her mom, Linda, a detail that made my chest tight. Every missing persons case starts with hope, but that scarf screamed trouble. Emily's parents, John and Linda Harper, sat in my office at the sheriff's station, clutching each other like they'd fall apart otherwise. John, a mechanic whose hands were stained with engine grease, kept muttering, "She's tough, Lena. She's out there." His voice broke, a crack in his gruff exterior. Linda, a third-grade teacher with tired eyes, stared at Emily's photo on my desk, a graduation shot, cap askew, smile wide. "She called me that morning," Linda whispered. "Said she'd bring her famous peach cobbler sundae." Their pain was raw, a knife twisting in my gut. I wanted to believe John, but 24 hours missing in a case like this? The clock was ticking, and it wasn't on our side. The town was on edge, neighbors swapping theories over sweet tea and porch swings. Clara Jenkins, a widow who watched Rodney Parham Road like a security cam, said Emily walked home most nights, earbuds in, oblivious to the world. "Never saw her with anyone shady," Clara told me, her knitting needles clicking. But Tommy Wade, a mechanic who worked for John Harper, mentioned hearing a truck idling near Emily's place around 10:45 p.m. "Didn't look out," he admitted, scratching his neck tattoo. "Figured it was some delivery." At the diner, Jenny Carter, a waitress with a gravelly voice, said Emily was saving tips for grad school. "Girl had dreams," Jenny said, eyes misty. "Wanted to help sick kids. No enemies, no drama, just a woman grinding for a better life." 5 days later, hope bled out. A hiker, some college kid named Ethan Brooks, found Emily in a wooded lot off Highway 10, half hidden under pine needles. I got the call at 6:03 a.m., my coffee going cold as I sped to the scene. She was gone, beaten, violated, left like discarded trash. The coroner's report was a sucker punch: sexual assault, blunt force trauma, death by strangulation. I stood by her body, the air thick with pine and death, and made a silent vow. "I'll get the bastard, Emily," I whispered. The crime scene techs swarmed, dusting for prints, bagging fibers, but I couldn't shake the image of her broken form. Little Rock wasn't Mayberry anymore. This was a predator's hunting ground. The investigation ate me alive. Emily Harper's case became my shadow, trailing me through every shift at the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office. We chased every lead like bloodhounds. A partial tire track in the mud near Highway 10, too weathered to pin down. A blurry CCTV frame from a Cantrell Road gas station showing that black pickup, its plates unreadable. A shaky witness, some jogger named Lila Hayes, who swore she saw a guy in a red cap near the lot where Emily was found. "He was watching the woods," Lila said, hugging her arms. "Creeped me out." We hauled in locals. Emily's ex, a nerdy accountant named Greg Walsh. Her co-worker, a line cook with a weed charge. Even Ray Sullivan, a drifter handyman with a rap sheet for bar fights. No DNA, no solid alibis, no dice. The case went colder than an Arkansas winter. Emily's face haunted me. Those hazel eyes staring from flyers now faded on telephone poles. Her parents, John and Linda, called monthly, their voices thinning from hope to despair. "Anything new, Lena?" Linda would ask, her words brittle. I'd mumble about ongoing efforts, hating the lie. John stopped calling after year 2, his silence louder than words. I kept Emily's file on my desk, a dog-eared accusation I couldn't ignore. Every lead was a dead end, every tip a ghost. The scarf, the pickup, the red cap, they mocked me, pieces of a puzzle with no edges. Life didn't stop, though. I made detective in 2011, pinned the badge on with a hollow pride. Got married to Matt, a paramedic with a steady laugh, in 2013. Our daughter, Ellie, came in 2015, her giggles a light in my darker days. But Emily's case was a splinter in my soul, festering. Every June, I'd drive to that wooded lot off Highway 10, laying daisies where she'd been found. Little Rock changed around me, new strip malls on Chenal Parkway, hipster cafes replacing dive bars. But Emily's absence was a pulse, an echo in the city's veins. I'd sit in my cruiser, staring at the pines, replaying the case. Was the perp a local? A drifter? Someone she trusted? The not knowing was a slow poison. The town moved on, but not really. Neighbors whispered about that poor Harper girl at Kroger's checkout lines. Clara Jenkins, still knitting on her porch, asked me once, "You ever give up, Lena?" I shook my head, but the truth gnawed at me. Cases like this, high profile, no closure, breed suspicion. People locked their doors tighter, eyed strangers harder. Jenny Carter, the diner waitress, quit and moved to Benton, said the place felt cursed. Emily's siblings, Mark and Rachel, drifted apart from their parents, guilt and grief cracking their family like dry earth. I saw John once at a gas station, his face gray, eyes hollow. "You tried," he said, like that was enough. It wasn't. I dug through Emily's life, hoping for a missed clue. Her nursing degree from UAMS, her volunteer shifts at Arkansas Children's Hospital. She was no party girl, no risk taker. Her laptop held nothing but study notes and job apps, her emails full of plans for a master's degree. But one detail stuck. A co-worker mentioned Emily seemed jumpy her last week, checking her phone constantly. "Thought she had a new guy," the co-worker said. No proof, no name. I ran her phone records again. Nothing but calls to Sarah and her mom. The trail was ice cold, but I couldn't let it go. Emily deserved better than a dusty file in the basement. By 2023, Emily's case was a ghost story in Pulaski County, but I never stopped hunting. A cold case grant hit the sheriff's office like a lifeline, funding new tech to crack old mysteries. I dusted off Emily's evidence box, fibers, the scarf, swabs from her body, and sent it to a state-of-the-art lab in Fayetteville. On September 8th, my phone buzzed at 7:12 a.m. The lab tech's voice was sharp. "We got a hit. DNA from Emily's body matched Calvin Lee Draper, 48. A truck driver popped for assault in Conway County." My hands shook as I pulled his file. Draper was a Little Rock local in 2008, doing odd jobs near Cantrell Road, painting houses, fixing cars. That black pickup? DMV records showed he owned a 2005 Ford F-150, black as sin back then. My blood roared. We had our perp. I tracked Draper to a rusted trailer in Morrilton, 50 miles west. The place reeked of motor oil and neglect, tires stacked by the porch. Draper answered the door, lean and grizzled, his blue eyes cold as a cell block. "Don't know no Emily Harper," he said, but his fingers twitched like a cornered rat. I played it cool, warrant in hand. Mind if we look around? His jaw tightened, but he stepped aside. My partner, Sam Torres, found it in a closet, a red cap, faded, stuffed behind a toolbox. Lab tests later confirmed it. DNA matched to the crime scene. My pulse hammered. This was no coincidence. This was the killer's trophy. In the interrogation room, Draper sat like a coiled snake, denying everything. I leaned in, tossing photos on the table. Emily's scarf, the wooded lot, her autopsy report. "Talk, Calvin," I said. "We got your DNA." His smirk faded, eyes darting. After 3 hours, he cracked, voice flat as asphalt. "Didn't mean to kill her. She fought back." He'd seen Emily walking that night, offered a ride, got pissed when she said no. The details, her screams, the woods, how he dumped her, made my fists clench under the table. He wasn't sorry, just caught. I wanted to slug him, but cuffs would have to do. The twist hit me later, digging through Draper's past. He wasn't just a drifter. He'd worked a job at Harper's Auto Repair, John's shop, in 2007. Emily knew him, maybe not well, but enough to recognize his face. Had she trusted him that night? The thought made my skin crawl. We pulled his records, a string of assaults in Benton and Saline counties, all women, all late-night attacks. He'd slipped through the cracks, a predator hiding in plain sight. The pickup, the cap, the DNA, it all locked into place. But one question burned. Why Emily? Was it random, or did she know something about him that sealed her fate? The trial hit Pulaski County Courthouse like a storm. March 2024, the courtroom was packed. Reporters, locals, Emily's family in the front row, their faces carved with 15 years of pain. I sat behind the prosecution, my badge heavy, watching Calvin Lee Draper slouch in his orange jumpsuit. Prosecutor Anna Reynolds, a pit bull in heels, laid it out like a street fight. DNA from Emily's body, fibers on the red cap, Draper's rap sheet, stalking, assaults, a pattern of preying on women in Benton and Saline counties. She showed the jury that blurry CCTV of his black pickup, time-stamped the night Emily vanished. "This man," Anna said, pointing at Draper, "is a monster who stole Emily Harper's life." Draper's defense tried to spin it. Bad DNA, wrong guy, but it was a weak play. The jury wasn't buying. John and Linda Harper sat clutching hands, Linda's eyes wet, John's jaw tight. Rachel and Mark, Emily's siblings, were there too, their grief a quiet fire. I caught Linda's eye, nodding, a silent promise kept. The jury deliberated 2 hours, the shortest I'd seen in a murder case. On March 14, 2024, the verdict dropped like a gavel. Guilty, first-degree murder, aggravated sexual assault, life without parole, hard labor at Cummins Unit, Arkansas's toughest lockup. Draper stared at me as they cuffed him, his eyes cold, unrepentant. I stared back, thinking of Emily's broken body in that wooded lot. Outside, the Harpers hugged me, tears mixing with relief. "Thank you, Lena," Linda whispered, her voice a fragile thread. John gripped my hand, saying nothing, his eyes saying everything. The press swarmed, cameras flashing, but I slipped away. Justice wasn't clean. It didn't bring Emily back, didn't erase the Harpers' scars or my sleepless nights. But it was something, a weight lifted, a debt paid. I drove to that lot off Highway 10, where daisies still marked the spot. The air was crisp, the pines whispering. I pulled Emily's scarf from my desk drawer, kept all these years, its blue threads frayed but unbroken. The twist that lingered wasn't in the evidence, it was in me. Emily's case changed me, made me harder, sharper, but also human. I saw Ellie, my daughter, in Emily's smile, and it gutted me to think of her in that monster's path. Little Rock moved on, but I'd never forget the cost of this case. Not just Emily's life, but the piece of myself I left in those woods. I tucked the scarf away, a reminder. Some echoes never fade, but justice, even late, is a damn good start. Hit subscribe if you believe everyone should be treated fairly. Only haters, manipulators, and trolls won't subscribe. If you believe people should be treated fairly, hit subscribe. Trolls won't. Comment "I stand for justice" if you're not siding with the bully.